Hello, it's now day 7 since I had my Botox treatment for retrograde cricopharyngeus dysfunction, or R-CPD, or otherwise known as the inability to burp. So day 7, so Monday, it's now Sunday, so Monday last week, I had 50 milligrams of Botox injected into my cricopharyngeus muscle in my throat, and I've been documenting how that's gone. So I thought 7 days in, let's have a bit of a summary, look back on the whole week about how it's actually gone. And when I thought about doing this daily blog about progress, I was looking forward to this because I thought it might be quite a exciting kind of 7 day. I'll be burping. I'll be able to kind of show how successful it's been, and the truth is, it's been a bit of a different journey. Really, it's been much more discreet, much more slow moving as a process. But I think that's good to see as well, right? I think it's good to see the reality of this. So, how has it been for me? The procedure itself on Monday was great. So I had my procedure with Lucy Hicklin in Wimbledon, and she was fantastic. She was really understanding. What I really appreciated was that she's clearly worked with a lot of people that have this condition, and she understands, and I felt listened to, and that there was going to be a solution, and that was just really, really valuable. And the procedure itself, super simple. So Lucy provides the Botox through an injection. There's no general anaesthetic. It's through it's about here, using an ECG machine to find the right part of the muscle, and then inject it straight in. So it was really simple, in and out, probably half an hour in total. And then through the week, I didn't really get much for the first couple of days, really. So symptoms, slow swallow. So when you're swallowing food particularly, it can sometimes feel like it's getting stuck in your throat and you can't quite get it down. It's like it's stuck in your throat. I had a bit of that. Not too bad. A couple of instances where it's been a bit more tricky, but generally I haven't really had that. And that's been a bit frustrating in a way, because I kind of wanted to have the symptoms to show that it was working, which might be the wrong way of thinking about things, because you don't always get the side effects for things, right? Not everyone gets impacted by them. One of the side effects that was talked about was kind of a wheezing noise as you breathe in that can sometimes happen. And I've got that, and I did a blog yesterday when I ran parkrun for a 5K run, and you could hear it particularly bad on that. So it's not actually restricting my breathing. It's just a noise. It's a sound that sounds like a wheezing. Reflux. I had a bit of reflux last night in bed, but that's the first time I've had reflux since having the procedure. I used to get acid reflux in bed quite often. Not had it for a long time. I had one last night. I had a bit then. But other than that, haven't really regurgitation. Haven't had any regurgitation at all. So overall, the side effects for me have been quite minimal. But the counter to that is that I haven't had a lot of burping yet either. Now I've had some. I've had some sort of mini burps, right? So it's just like a pop in the throat, and you can taste that it was a burp, that it's come from the stomach. They just completely by surprise. I've had a couple of actual burps, again by surprise. It seems to be if I'm laughing or a sudden movement, then one of these things will happen: a micro burp or a full burp. What I'm realizing, I just haven't got the ability to understand what to do when a burp is coming. So, on the one hand, it's frustrating that I don't know what to do. So, you get this sort of hiccupy feel. You feel something coming up, and then I just want to open up my throat and let the burp out. And I don't know what to do. And I think what I actually end up doing is tensing, because I'm like, oh, what do I do? And I think it just pushed it down. And so I'm not going to suddenly know how to do that, which again worries me in some ways. Like, how am I going to know what to do? How am I going to know how to burp? But then, because they're happening when they do happen, with no warning, with no plan from me, no action from me. It's involuntary. Well, that's probably the answer, right? You can't make it happen. It will happen when it happens, and the body will just let the air out. So my hope now is that as the throat relaxes and continues to relax, then that will happen more, and the air will come out. So I guess what I'm telling myself is I don't have to learn how to burp particularly. It will just happen when my muscle is relaxed enough to let it happen, rather than there being a technique that I need to learn to do and I'm not doing it right. It'd be great to have a technique then. I keep trying different things like pulling my jaw forward, imagining there's a tennis ball in the back of my throat, so you kind of open that space up. But what I find all of that does is I get tense and I get more, and surely that's the opposite way to do things and what you need to do when you're trying to just relax the muscle to let the air out. So that's what I'm telling myself anyway. So this week, had the procedure, had a few micro burps, had a couple of burps, not as far on as I hoped I would be, but we know that sometimes it can take longer than the quick fix that we want, and it can take at least a couple of weeks to start to see real impact. And the Botox lasts for 3 months, right? So it could be even longer. So I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm going to continue doing these. I think I'm finding them useful. I'd like to look back on them and see my journey, and I really am hopeful that I'm going to be able to do an end of kind of journey video where I can look back on these and think, yeah, actually, I was a bit worried, but it was okay. And I'm in that worried stage now, if I'm being honest, feeling like starting to have that little bit of doubt if it's going to work or not, which is silly. I'm not months in. I'm a week in. I'm 7 days in. This is what I'm telling myself. So I guess that's the end of my week, really. Looking forward to next week. Actually, one thing I meant to say is that I actually took a week off work this week, thinking, oh, I'm going to be terrible. I'm going to be not be able to eat anything. I'm going to be burping in people's faces while I'm talking to them, all these sort of things. So I thought, best thing, I've got an office job, so I'm able to work from home. So I'll work from home all week. And this is something I've realised, actually, I probably could have worked in the office because it's not really been that debilitating. I haven't had that amount of gas coming out. We'll see what happens next week when I'm in the office. Maybe I will get a bit more coming out, but I'm going to be back in the office. I'm going to be back working as normal, and let it be as it is. I've started telling people as well about what I've had done. I don't know about anyone else who has this condition, but I just get a bit embarrassed. I get a bit embarrassed about it because I think that people are going to be like, so what? You can't burp. And you've got to explain yourself, explain all the symptoms. And I've just found a way, what I've been saying to people is that I've had a bit of procedure, I've had some Botox in my throat, I've had trouble releasing some gas, and it's just to relax the muscle a bit to let the gas out. And when I've kind of summarised it into that, it just feels a bit more normal. I don't know, I feel okay saying that. I don't feel like I need to go through the whole journey. People have asked more about it, and I've talked about kind of this has always been around, and blah blah blah. And I think it's an interesting story to tell. But I think kind of normalising the procedure is helping me as well. So I'm less worried about being with people at work and having to kind of explain why maybe I'm wheezing, or if hopefully a burp comes out, and rather than being embarrassed, I celebrate it, which is definitely going to happen if I manage to get a burp or two out while I'm at work. But we'll see how it goes, anyway, and I will share that on this blog as well. Okay, I'd be interested to hear if anyone's got what were they like? What were you like at 7 days? Were you a bit further on? Are you going through it now and you're kind of further on, or did you have a similar feeling of like, oh, nothing's really happening? I would love to hear from anyone who's further on in the journey, who's had a positive outcome, who maybe is a bit like I described now at this 1 week part of just feeling a little bit deflated that it's not been quite so sudden a change. I'd love to hear, but please post your comments, continue to follow, and subscribe if you want to kind of get notifications when I put the updates on. But that's my week. Thank you.